Well, welcome everyone. This is Ken Clank from Citywide Title, host of the Eat and Drink Real Estate Show. I've got Rich Costabile here today from Cornerstone Wholesale Homes. Rich, thank you so much for coming on the show today and being able to spend some of your time and share some of your knowledge with our group and audience. How are you today?
I'm wonderful, thank you.
Wonderful, 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 Rich. Well, of course, we're here to talk about real estate. But Rich, can you tell us a little bit about what your background is, and how you became interested in real estate?
Well, I became interested in real estate actually by accident. A friend of mine asked me to donate $10,000 to buy a home with him and flip it, and I knew nothing about it, and I didn't know really what to do. And I didn't have $10,000, so I just thought he'd go away, but he didn't. And he asked again, and then I thought he'd go away because I told him, yeah, sure, no problem. And then he asked again, and I said, I got to really do something about this. So I got a small $10,000 loan against my home in Glen Ellen, actually, and gave it to him, and that's how I started my ventures in real estate.
And that is a perfect example of a good faith endeavor, isn't it?
Yeah.
You got a trusted friend, you believe you'd be able to get things done, and you got into real estate by doing that. So how long have you been in real estate?
Since 1976.
76. That was the spirit, right?
That was the spirit.
It
Yes,
was the spirit of the bicentennial. I remember it well.
Yes.
Let me ask you, with your years of experience, what do you really think the future of real estate is today?
Oh, the future of real estate today, to me, is wide open. It's the only thing limiting real estate ventures today is one's imagination, frankly. And I think it's always been that way. But today, there are so many different avenues to ponder and to move within that it's wide open field. I would recommend real estate to anyone as a career or as a stepping stone to provide revenue to something else their true love is. So
right.
that's how I look at it. But for me, I don't invest in anything but real estate.
Now, do you feel that the average buyer or seller is being priced out of the market right now?
No. Over my experience, some of the best years I've ever had were when interest rates were like 18.5%, and back in the 80s, and I've seen those times come and go, and the lows always produce certain different avenues of venture, and the highs produce other avenues of venture. So today the field, to me, is wide open, absolutely wide open.
I think that's an encouragement to a lot of people. I think some people are discouraged right now because they don't have the depth of experience, or they don't have a friend or someone else in the business can explain and help them identify those opportunities in a high interest rate market or low inventory market like we're experiencing today. And I think it's the people with the wisdom and the experience are able to capitalize on that most. And we don't see as many people jumping into real estate right now, but if they were, I think our advice, you would agree, they should partner or be mentored by someone that does have that experience.
That's exactly
because they're not going to find the opportunities, or the good ones at least.
That's right.
The math has got to work.
No. And if I can explain a little bit about that.
Please do.
Yeah. Well, when I first started, it was total trust, but I didn't realize I had a mentor at the same time, because when he came to me and took my $10,000, he said, let's go find us a house. And I said, well, I thought you had houses. And he said, how would you know what to look for next time? And I thought to myself, next time? I just hoping I get my $10,000 back. And
like many of us would.
Yeah,
right?
But I didn't know I had a mentor. And so we looked, and that we found a house in Bolingbrook. We put down total $21,000, my 10, his 11, and he said, go fix it. And I said, go fix it? That wasn't a part. He said, just go fix it. Not a big deal here. And put a sign on the window for sale by owner, put your number on if anybody calls. And that was October. And By November, I had the house fixed. We had a contract, closed on it in January, and my return was my 10,500 hours back that I put into the house, plus 11,000 hours in 90 days. And I said, I got to do this again. There will be a next time.
Yeah.
But I figured the caboose goes the same place the engine goes. So if you follow the successful patterns of what people are doing,
Mm-hmm.
you can succeed in real estate or in any other field, really.
No, and I think that speaks volume. Again, it goes back to that experience and the commitment to learn. Because I think your friend did two things. He had a bigger picture. You thought you were just lending him $10,000 in the hopes of getting some profit.
Right.
And he had a vision of like, no, you've got a certain skill set. You can help repair. You've got some money. We're going to do this together.
Right.
So he was thinking long term. I thought that
Yes, he was.
very, very good part of that story. When we look at real estate investing right now in this current time, what specifics would you offer the investors out there, right? Not just the new person getting in, but maybe the person that's like you were in the early stages. They've done one or two flips in their career. What's it like? What should they be looking for right now?
Well, I've changed my business model so many times over the last 40 years that it goes with the flow of what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
But in today's market, I would suggest people concentrate on number one, in my opinion, developing several people to join in on a real estate investment club, if you will,
Mm-hmm.
and gather their funds together so they can make some moves on things that are certainly going to be coming up in the very, very near future. I mean, if you just look at what the foreclosure market's going to be, people with dollars are going to be able to swoop up some of these deals in the next 1 to 2 years that are going to be dynamite profit margins. I mean, I have flipped well over 200 homes in my day. I don't make that my total thing today. However, to me, everything now I am personally invest in is short-term revenue, passive income revenue. So
Mm-hmm.
I prepare for the longer term. And today, of course, my age has something to do with that. Everyone who's 30 thinks they're going to be doing, they're going to live forever. And pretty soon, when they wake up and they're 60, So prepare now and just get a group together and start thinking about it and find the deals. And people in the real estate industry that are realtors, as an example, have certain tools that they could bank on to assist in that area. And if they don't use those tools, they can use them as a group. And sure, they're not going to get wealthy over the next, because they got a larger number of people in a group, but they'll certainly be able to make some deals, and they will expand from that. So that's how I feel about it.
Okay, that certainly makes sense to me. Looking back on your career, could you share with us a couple of the investments that you made in real estate that really stand out?
Well, one of the first one that stands out was a lesson learned, and let's see. I can tell you that I was driving down the street with this mentor down on Lakeshore Drive, and he said, "Boy, they're going to be selling that pretty soon at bargain prices." And I said, "What?" And he said, "Navy Pier." And I said, "Well, let's buy it." He said, "What are we going to do with it?" I said, "I don't know." And so I just kept on that. Well, let's buy it. Let's buy it. Let's buy it. And I couldn't find anyone that wanted to buy it. And people always asked, well, what are you going to do with it? And I don't know. I'll put shops on it. It'll become an attraction. And if you look back, don't let people discourage you from doing something you have a really fine idea in. That was one I learned a really big lesson on. Don't give up on perhaps a dream of yours. But one of the better investments I made, I was up in Wisconsin and purchased I'll say by accident, but in my opinion, nothing happens by accident.
Mm-hmm.
And I ran across a foreclosed resort. A mobile home park that an owner wanted to sell, and I did some creative financing with them, and wore out a pair of shoes trying to find banks that would back me with it. And that mobile home park I purchased for $650,000. I put no money down on it, nothing. And at the closing, I walked away with $47,000 for operating expenses, and turned that into a very good business venture, and then eventually sold it to my partner. And that was one of them. The other one is I could think of is a marina that was being foreclosed on up in Door County, and that I came across through another investor who decided that they weren't interested in it. And so I put together a small group of other people. You'll probably notice in my tones, I like partnerships. I think partnerships can go a long, long way. And a certain percentage of something is a lot better than 100% of nothing. So
You got that right.
So I put together a couple partners, and we put an offer on this $2.5 million resort up in Door County that had a 5-star restaurant, marina, golf course, 2 hotels, and we didn't know what we exactly were going to do with it, but we were going to spin off the entities to people who knew what they were going to do with it, and just
Restaurateur, golf course operator.
Right, exactly.
Sure, yeah.
Because that takes the load off of Mr. Rich here, not to have to look at all that stuff. And 3 weeks before the closing, I got a phone call out of the blue from a gentleman who talked to the bank and called me up and said, understand you wanted to buy this resort and you have a closing coming up. We'd like to buy it from you. We'd like to buy your closing. And I said, I don't fall in love with real estate, so how much?
Right.
And it was about just under $1 million more than what we were going to buy it for.
Wonderful.
Yeah. So nothing is impossible if you just keep churning away at your dream.
Go to the opportunity, because it's not going to come to you, right?
That's right. That's right. So
that's a great story. You've written a book in regards to your travels through the 4 decades of being involved in real estate. What was your impetus and your passion for creating that book? Why'd you do that?
Well, I think the good Lord kind of came to me and said, you may want to start giving back some of your knowledge,
Yeah.
and some of the things you believe in. And my book is a storytell of a lot of experiences, but each story in the book has a message in it, a strong message to people, to what to look for, what not to look for, what to be aware of. And that was my whole purpose of writing my first book, which will be in print soon. And
what's the title of the book?
Little Decisions.
Little Decisions.
Little Decisions. Nothing happens by accident.
I like that.
Yeah. So, it's just little decision for me to go get a loan, little decisions
Right.
to invest here, little decision to, we all have little decisions in our life that pretty soon we wind up, how did I even meet my wife? But here she is of 30
That's
years.
the first thing I thought of. Right?
You don't know
5 kids later, and I've got a wife.
Yeah,
I
a
love
wife,
it.
a
Yeah.
house, and
Yeah.
and all kinds of stuff, right? So,
Yeah, it is an amazing part of life.
Yeah, it is. Little decisions will lead you to where you are today.
Yes, very true.
And you can change your little decisions today to make your life better tomorrow, if you like. So,
Now, is there any specific tidbits or stories you could share with us about the book?
one of the little decisions is I was up in the Fox Lake area, looking at two separate marinas to purchase. And if you would have asked me back in 1976 when I first passed out $10,000, would I be out looking at $2,500,000 deals, the answer would have been absolutely not. But through the course of years, you will find that if you are in any kind of a profession, your little decisions take you to other opportunities. And in today's day and age, I get calls all the time to people that want to partner in this deal or that deal, or they bring deals to my desk. So at any rate, I was up there looking at marinas to buy, and I came across this one marina that was for sale, and it had a really great boat line that they were selling. And in the course of real estate, there's a lot of things that make up revenue that people overlook. They look at a revenue source as a boat marina that sells new boats, and one thinks, oh, they sell new boats. But in everything in life, if you look around, any major corporation, I don't care if it's Jewel Food Store, they don't just sell Kellogg's cornflakes. There's all kinds of revenue that is generated, such as boat maintenance, boat storage, shrink wrapping, all kinds of things. This particular marina also had like about 30 docks on the Fox Lake. Well, through some investigation, Fox Lake has a rule: you can't build a new boat dock unless somebody else is giving up a boat dock. So that boat dock is worth something of value.
It's.
I mean, it's like, if you own an apartment building, it would be like having an extra 30 units in your building, as an example.
Right.
So I looked at that, and that was actually the big key, because that revenue from the boat docks, as minor as it might have seemed, they were worth something and could be bargained for revenue to either for future expansion, because they were secured by the law that they were worth a minimum of $30,000 apiece. So that the owner really didn't look at as a.
He didn't present that
He
to
didn't. Yeah.
buyers as an asset.
As an asset, but
Right.
it sure was. So.
Right. That speaks to identifying hidden assets.
That's right. Exactly.
They're not so hidden. It's
No.
whether you know they are or not.
Yeah,
you can find them.
that's right. If you have some imagination and vision.
Right.
So that's one thing, and the other one is another marina I looked at, and they had a great boat dealership as well, and I negotiated that deal with, again, some three partners, and we went up there to close the deal with a check. And as we drove up, there were three trucks there hauling out some of these new boats, and I said, why are these new boats being pulled out of here? And he said, oh, well, we just lost our franchise with Chaparral, but that's no big deal. You can find another, well, that was the whole point of that particular marina, so that it was time to walk on that one. So nothing always works out the way you want it to, but the good Lord was watching over me on this one, because we would have closed on that day with a check, and
Right.
we would have been stuck not knowing that these boats are going someplace.
No big deal.
No
You
big
just
deal.
go find another
Yeah.
manufacturer to
Right,
to
exactly.
represent. Right.
So
Yeah, that's a big deal where I come from.
yeah,
so
it is a big deal,
'Cause,
and my book has got a lot of those type of stories in it.
I think people will get a lot out of it, because you're speaking to experience, and that's the kind of things that we learn from. I think that's a great story to tell. Looking at the new investor as well as the seasoned investor, right now, what advice do you have?
Well, for the new investor, I encourage them to find a few other people to make sure they can have the backing of dollars that they may need. Most people think they can't do any forms of real estate at all without because they don't have enough finances. But there's ways and means to put together different types of deals that can make happen. I just bought a house in Barrington, a $319,000 house, and my out-of-pocket expenses on that house to take ownership and have a deed in my name was $10.
Wow.
That was my out-of-pocket expenses, and that house is worth about $350, with a few minor changes on it. Originally, I was going to tear it down and build a new one. I also build new homes. I have like about 7 corporations, but they're all related to either real estate investing or construction. So
Right.
it's not like it's a it's not like a big brain buster. I mean,
Okay.
they're all together.
Yeah, you have high confidence in each
Yeah,
one, right?
Yeah, right. So, but I would encourage people to brainstorm with associates they respect and trust, and develop some sort of a game plan, and actually run it like a business.
Right.
Most people don't run things like a business. They it's just there. They don't treat it like, this is not monopoly. This is real time, real dollars.
Right.
And I urge people to know that this is real money. This is nothing. This is not a joke. Real estate is a great business, a great profession. If you're just brand new and getting started, God bless you. Anything can happen. Just be wise. Look. Don't be afraid. But get involved. Get involved consistently, and things happen. Don't put it on the back burner. Whether you're new or seasoned, to me it's all the same. If you're seasoned, I would start looking at a lot of different markets today that only do passive revenue, such as senior home housing or senior care, or different avenues of that type that generate large revenues every month.
Right.
That
That's strong market right now.
that
Absolutely.
are absolutely dynamite to get involved in, because the trend, and baby boomers like me are not going away. I mean, there's going to be a lot more following me, so we're all going to need that type of care and whatever. It's not going to last forever, but
Well,
get
it's
into
where the market's flowing now.
it's where it's
right?
now,
Exactly.
and that's nothing lasts forever. So
Rich, I often have requests for guests of the show, from the audience and other people that we know through our relationships. And they often ask, can you provide a guest that would be able to provide specific examples of investment opportunities? So the things that I often are asked of, can you have a guest that can demonstrate or show real examples of investments that they made, and what was the thinking, what was the math behind it, and how they finally determined it was a deal that they're going to go through with, or they killed. Like you gave the example of the marina where you found out they lost the boat dealership, and they're like, oh, no problem, that's going to, and you said, that is a problem, and I'm killing the deal. People need to know that. But when we talk about, or the example of the home that you mentioned in regards to up in Barrington, where you purchased for $10 to have it deeded in your name and it's worth $350, would you be willing to come back on the show and share with our audience the specifics, like how do you seek out and identify these opportunities, and what's the process that you go through to our investigation, determination, and pulling the trigger or walking away?
Oh, I'd be more than happy. I'd be more than happy to do that. I know I've written this first book, which is going to print, but I'm already on chapter 14 of my second book.
Okay, what's that one?
Well, it's a series. I'm going to run another name title, but series 2 of the same type of thing, and hope that it will help some individuals. But I have a desk full of deals, obviously, that have worked and why they worked. And as an example, I look for subdivisions that are, as an example, that are somebody got tired of running or doing. there's a many subdivisions we've all driven through that have lots that have signs on them, lot for sale, lot for sale, lot for sale.
Mhm.
You know, but I have to be honest here. The American public does not have vision, so they're not going to be able to visualize their new dream house on this piece of grass.
Mhm.
So the reason some of these subdivisions are like they are, or people get tired of them, is because, and I've done both. I mean, I've done subdivisions from ground up and brought water, sewer, and the whole thing into it. And I bought some that are already there and somebody got tired of, or a spouse died and the wife does not want to deal with this stuff. But my whole point is nothing happens unless you spend some money and put up about a $500,000 house and have people walk through it and say, this is well done.
I want one too.
I want one too. Can you
Yeah.
can you add a garage? You know, a fourth garage? Yeah, pick out a lot. We'll do whatever you want to do. You know, and that's what makes things sell. It's some imagination.
Mhm.
It's but I have tons of things I could share and be happy to. In fact, if you get listeners that want to ask questions and you think they're good questions, you let me know and I'll bring a bunch of books that you can send out to them free of charge that I'll be happy to
Wonderful.
donate and have them just enjoy some of the fun stories and some of the tragic ones as well. I mean, life isn't sweet all the time.
No, it is not.
No, it is not. So,
No, it is not.
but I'll be happy to do that if
We'd be happy to have you back, Rich. I really appreciate your time and coming to share your wisdom and your experience, your knowledge with our group.
oh, my pleasure, Ken.
Thanks again.
My
We look
pleasure.
forward to see you again soon.
God bless you, everybody, and have a great Thanksgiving.
You too.